Warm applaus for Noël en Arnaud. So I think we'll be going live pretty soon now, not only here in this film theater for a Q&A with you two guys, but also in other cities in Europe. Questions will be projected on the screen, and everybody here in the screening room can participate through Twitter with the hashtag LuxPrize, which brings up the questions here, and then we can talk about them. But meanwhile, I think we can just start off, I think. Yes. This is the exciting thing about technology. You didn't have that in 1992.
What happens with people that don't have any Twitter account? Here, people that don't have Twitter account. Yeah, that's what we want. Let's take advantage of this moment before we just get online.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
Thank you.
I think what's also like, before the questions start pouring in, I want to start off by maybe saying that what strikes me about seeing this film again is that you two in the film share a very deep connection that's very intimate as well. But I only noticed this screening that your characters together in the film are very rarely seen with just the two of you. There's always so many different characters around you guys, and it's a very public sphere where you guys are exploring your relationship. And I wanted to ask, like, how did you combine this sense of intimacy between you two together while also being amongst all these extras and the different actors and being in this public locales? Can you talk a bit about establishing that intimate connection through play?
Well, I think that it's like two films within one film. We met when we auditioned for the film, so we spent a lot of time together working with Robin. So I think that we created what we created, or what was there, and we just discovered while auditioning for the film. So it was something that we were bringing with us on the set. So then it's like I met the group, he met the group, but also our relationship met the group. So we had something that we were sharing maybe between us that was not being shared with the other people. So it was very natural because we met before, way before meeting the group.
Can you
rehearsing.
Can you maybe talk to us a little bit about this meeting before the film and the way that you already met through a casting process?
Sure.
Like, how did the two of you came together to be these protagonists of the film?
Well, it was in a very classical way, I think. They sent us the script, we read it, and then we auditioned. So the first time we met, we did one scene. I don't remember what scene, but it was like an amphitheater scene in which I was even playing Max or like some dialogues from other character or whatever. And then the second time we met, that was the...
Not script.
Yeah. That was that was the time in which we improvised a little bit, and we were like topless, bare chest, like lying down on a couch to see if some sort of chemistry would happen or not. You know, those things that you can't really force or create. So we were just like, you know, trying to be relaxed with a foreign body.
But first we chat on the street.
On the street, you're right.
We like, it's not like, wow,
yeah.
chest. No.
Yeah. We walked around the little streets in Belleville in Paris, and we were supposed to just. It was like we were improvising a scene after like the first action that we see in the film, like the metro scene, the subway scene, but as if we were just walking, the two of us, after that action. So we improvised that. So that it was very natural, I think, the way that we started to create the little, you know, the relationship between us. So when we got to the main rehearsal with the rest of the people, we were already a little close.
And I think for the others, we were the couple. So
so they kind of like moved around you rather than you had to move around them.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit, maybe both of you, about this you're talking about meeting this foreign body, and I think the bodily aspect of this film is very important. I think breathing plays a very huge role in the film, the showing of the body and the using of the body as not only a weapon but also something like a battle that happens inside you. Can you talk maybe as actors how you had to relate to your own body to crawl in the role of these characters? Like how did you relate to your own body while thinking of this role that you had to play?
Well, in my case, I was the sick one,
Yeah.
so it was like everything was related to my body, to the body of the character. So I can't really think of another way of playing in this film without thinking or without embodying and just like taking it within yourself. I lost weight. I did things that were like very concrete that maybe helped also, you know, the trajectory, the evolution of the character within the film. And then, you know, those things, you can't really create them, as I was saying before. It's just a matter of just like meeting another body and just like feeling comfortable or not. It's a very physical film. I mean, those guys were just like making visible what the rest of the society was trying to make invisible. So they were very aware of their bodies. They were very in touch with it. In my case, my character is like in a very bad state. He's one of the worst in terms of how the sick strikes him. So I think that's why he's very engaged and very effervescent and vital in his struggle, because he's doing bad. And then I think that your case is different because your body was like a more pure body, like neutral that arrived. No, but pure in the sense that you were not so conscious, I guess.
I'm 33, so maybe not so pure. But,
it's all going downhill now.
Yeah. It was a bit different, yes. I used to do, before the shooting, a lot of gym, so it was like very muscular. And Robin asked me for the part to be more fragile, so I stopped gym, and so it was very interesting for me going to gym every morning, like just to stop. It's a different mood you feel, different energy, and it helped me for sure to embody the character of Nathan.
I just saw a tweet related to the thing of visible and visibility, about that this film was not being able to be screened to teenagers under the age of 14 in Italy, and what you guys think about, like what kind of audience should or shouldn't see this film and the way that it's being presented. Do you guys have an opinion on that?
I don't know. We just see heads being cut and blood, and like violence is not taboo, but then just a little sex, which is not even porn in this film, is taboo.
Yeah.
To me, it's like very hypocritical.
Yeah, it's also there's not really a lot. There's actually no nudity in the film.
There's
in the classical sense.
There's just love and like whatever activism. There are many other things, but I don't see the. I mean, of course I understand, because if we go back in history, at that time people were like shying away, looking away. They didn't really want to accept those people. So I understand that some people are still in the same kind of way of seeing the issue. So I think that in Italy, for example, you're talking about Italy. Well, Le Vatican, like of course the Vatican is like the land of prohibition, of taboo, of condemning all the physicality. It's like bodies they tend to die in that way of thinking. So of course I understand that those people don't really want to watch this film or show it to like young people, but they think that like 14-year-old guys, girls, they don't watch porn, they don't watch like violence every day, everywhere. That's why it's for me very hypocritical.
Can you talk also maybe a bit about like your own perception of this era that you play in? Because you both must have been boys in the 1992, in the years that your characters are on screen. So can you tell maybe a bit about how you had to go back mentally in this time and age again, like in terms of research and the way that you had to like maybe trick you or inform yourself that, hey, we're actually in 1992 now. What was that process like?
The only memory I had from Act Up was the pink condom on the Place de l'Obélisque, on l'Obélisque de la Concorde, and that's it. So we had to watch movies, to read books, to discover the reality of this period. And it's the story, it's the memories of Robin. So it was quite easy for us to relate on him and on his memories and on his story. But yes, it was really interesting to have a look at all those documents.
Yeah, and I think that we never really approached the film as a historical film or a period film. So you're saying
feels
like
quite timeless.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were playing, we were very present, and I think that the film is not a nostalgic film. It's not like a film that is set today and that looks back in history to those heroes that changed the world. It's not like a epic. It's a very present film. So I never felt that we were working in a historical or that we had to, imitate or mimic things from the past. Just the only thing was at the nightclub that we didn't have to raise only one hand because it was not like something that they would do at that time. That was the only time that your band said something like related to the period.
A specific
dance
only thing.
There was dancing with their arms.
Just
and
not one, but two. Two was okay, but not one. Something like that. That
like
was
this,
the only day that he said something related to the time, to the period. Other than that, I feel that the film is like an encounter between our generation and that generation. And we were really free to just like take it, embody it as we wanted, as we felt. It was very free. And of course, we had the documentaries, the books, and many things. At Robin, maybe you don't know, but he was an activist at that time. Yeah. And Philippe Mongeau, the co-writer too, and the producer. So a little piece of Act Up was with us all the time.
Checking if everything was right.
No, it was the other way around. I would say that we had the chance to just see them, living together, being on the set, talking to each other, remembering things. So we were just like all the inspiration was right there. We just had to empty ourselves and just like try to absorb that. It was like a deconstruction process instead of like trying to create something that was, far from our lives. It was right there. It was in the air.
And talking about that club scenes, they are very, in a sense, stylized. It doesn't seem like a real club where you're shooting, but they also seem very intense. There's lots of material where you guys are dancing, and it feels at once very celebratory, but also very personal and very necessary in the story. Can you talk maybe a bit about also this function of the club in the film, but also maybe about what it was like to shoot all those scenes? But because I can imagine that you just shot that during the day rather than at night.
Of course. Yeah, 2 days of shooting.
2 days. Yeah.
2 days of pretend clubbing, in a sense.
I don't know. I feel that for me those scenes are very sad.
Yeah.
First because the music, house music, could be like related to having fun, but at the same time there's like this melancholic, nostalgic feeling in that music. And then because those scenes are actually the scenes, the moments that those guys were supposed to live all the time, and maybe they couldn't because of the disease. So to me, it's like those moments are very sad because it's like how life should be, but can't be. And I think that when we shot those scenes, we were just having fun. It was like a very, like a decompressing moment, like a relieving moment, even during the shooting that was very intense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dancing is always fun.
Dancing is
so you just take advantage,
And we had the music at the shooting. It was not a different music from the shooting and from the film. They did the music before the shooting.
It's beautiful music, by the way.
We discovered it the day of shooting.
Ah, that's great.
It was
we danced on the real music, on the actual music.
I like that. Usually with club scenes, they take like a fake song and then...
And then you feel that something strange.
Something is off,
Yeah,
but that doesn't
yeah,
seem to be
yeah,
the case with
yeah.
these scenes. That's
No.
why I like them so much.
And then for me it was very strange because we shot in the chronological order in 1 or 2 days, and then in the end they were dancing alone, and we were with Ariel, the actor that plays Jeremy, the first guy that dies.
Yeah.
So we were the two dead guys were up there looking downstairs,
Like
looking at them
angels.
dancing.
Like ghosts in the
angels.
Like
clubs.
angels, but we
Ah.
were very so moved. It was very intense to watch that last scene that you see in the film, and we were just like, overlooking at the scene from above.
That's super sad and very beautiful at the same time.
It's like the evolution of the film. We had it like in 2 days in dancing, and you could see how it would change. Like when he was alone, when I was at the hospital, like every little dancing scene would change according to the moment that the characters were going through in the film.
That's beautiful. So more questions are pouring in, and one is about the reception of the film in France, where the film obviously is set. You guys won 2 prizes at the Cannes Film Festival, but I don't really know what...
4.
4?
Yeah, 4.
Oh, you won the Vipresky, the Grand Jury Prize?
The Queer Palm.
The Queer Palm.
Oh, the Queer Palm, of course.
And
And
the prize François Chalet.
Chalet.
What, the what?
Well,
François Chalet, come on.
I didn't know it either, I'm sorry.
Well,
François Chalet.
Well, congratulations with
Thank
that
you.
one. But how was the rest of the reception in France? I can imagine. I was in Paris actually when the film came out, and I saw it in a lot of different theaters. So a lot of theaters booked the film. But can you tell something about like how it was received? Did you also have a backlash or mostly appraisal? And is ACT UP currently involved with the film? Can you tell me something about the now and then with the film?
It was really massive in the press, very positive.
Unanimous.
Unanimous, yeah, unanimous.
Except
La Croix,
La
which
Croix
is
or
like
like
a
Christian family or whatever.
newspaper,
Okay.
and say it's okay.
Yeah.
So
Luckily they
count
were
it.
against the film. Otherwise we would be worried. And then to me it was like, I think that this film was a big surprise. We finished shooting like 1 year ago, and since then we just lived like all these crazy surprises all the time. And maybe we thought that we were doing like a little film, like a niche film just for a certain audience, and then we discovered that it was a broad film, and like young people would come talk to us. Many people got involved in ACT UP or in other like activist associations. Old people that just like were like, oh, thank you, this was a very necessary film. We just like it was necessary because we hadn't spoken about this, and just seeing all that on the screen, it's very cathartic,
Yeah, catharsis.
and it was very necessary. I think that they were, hiding a lot of things. Some people from that time that didn't really want to talk or see those things, and all of a sudden just have the opportunity to watch all that and have access to the intimacy of those people. Because at that time people were just seeing the show, the spectacularity of the actions, but they didn't know who they were, maybe. So I think it was we were very surprised about the reception, and it was a big success.
Yes.
Like big success.
And it's also the French submission for the Oscars, Best Foreign Film. What's interesting about the film is the way that it also deals with protest and activism. I think nowadays, like with internet, a lot of the protest and activism is conveyed through social media and through online groups. And what's so interesting about this film is how physical it is. And it feels like there is also a powerful message somewhere in the way that you have to form groups or have to inform yourself as a group to have a potent protest. And I'm wondering how you see this film in the light of today, and if there's a special message for like a contemporary audience on how to go about activism and protest.
I don't think there is a message. You can take what you want to take from the film. But you can clearly see that you're more powerful when you're together. That's for sure. The power of the group.
Yeah, I think that we don't make films for just to teach things, but I can tell that many people were very excited about the activism in the film, and they were encouraged to just join associations or. And you're right, people are behind their screens writing things and just like being very radical, whatever, what we're doing tonight. And it's very easy to say things or to feel that you're engaged when you're like, you know, in the comfort of your living room. And I think that watching this film for young people is it can be very inspiring because they just see people getting together, buddies, you know, confronting to each other. And people learning, they were learning how to do politics, being together, being stronger together.
I saw an interesting question pop up about reception as well, about completely different places. Like, did the film go really worldwide to places like Latin America or Africa or places far outside of your own scope of France? Do you know anything about that, where the film already traveled worldwide and what it did?
In Italy, for example, they were really concerned about all the work of ACT UP with the laboratories, about all the medication. In America, it's more about the history and the legacy and the love story. In Germany, they asked me a lot of questions about the scene of the euthanasia, and it's the only country that asked me question about this. Yeah. So I think it depends of the culture and the history of the countries and the perceptions.
So through this film, you also get an idea of what different countries are thinking about, in a sense.
And that's
where they are. Sorry.
That's because the film is very multi-layer. So I think that every country, every person can really relate to some part of the film. So it triggers different things according to the audience. But we show the film in Mexico and Brazil. I'm showing it in Argentina, where I come from, this month in November. So yeah, we're showing it everywhere.
That must be very interesting, because I read somewhere that you came from Argentina and then you had to learn French quite quickly to play in French roles, right?
Yeah, I learned French 7 years ago.
Which is incredible. But then it must be amazing to screen the film back in Argentina
It's
as well.
so weird. And because I don't tell people what I'm doing, people just think that I stopped acting. And all of a sudden I come back with a film in which I play like in fluent French. So they're like, who are you? You just like, it's funny.
That's incredible. And you actually stopped acting for a while, right?
Yeah.
And this was the film that after 5 years or something, you're back on the big screen.
Yeah.
Why
and
this one?
Maybe the last one. I don't know.
You're making a lot of people sad. So why this film?
Why this film? The subject, clearly. The engagement of this group and Robin Campillo as well, I think.
I have an interesting question about that the conflict in this film shifts from being a very institutional conflict to turning into something that's rather very personal about you two. And what was it like to make this shift in the roles that you were playing?
It's like the first part of the film, I'm talking about my character. He takes like intimacy as like a flame, as a big power to just produce political public discourse and actions. And I think that the second part of the film is the part in which he can't produce anymore that public life that he had in the first part. So for me, it was like two different shootings within the same shooting. The first part was very vital, and it was like about creating a lot of life, fighting for life. And the second part is the part in which he just like doesn't see himself in the future. So it's the moment in which he starts really showing his weakness, his vulnerability. That's the moment in which he allows him to love him. So it was like coming from outside to inside, emptying your body, emptying the gaze. To me, it was like very natural because we had the chance to shoot the film in a chronological order. So the first part was like more of a party, even though the disease was everywhere. It was like fighting against it. So we were all like, wow, full of life. And the second part was very sad because we were just losing that. And that's how the shooting took place too. So we stopped seeing the other guys, so we were just together living like that kind of sad bubble of just like withering away, you know, just like dying.
How was that for you? Because you come, I know, in the film quite differently as a more fresh eyes into this organization, and then you get swept up in this whole...
I didn't really think. I was just in the moment. My character allows this because he's watching the others and little by little getting different and more concerned and more in love, and so it was just a question of being there, being focused, and voila.
I saw something interesting come up now at Twitter about discussions around PrEP. Maybe it's nice to also say something about that, because that seems like a more contemporary way of dealing with AIDS and HIV. Do you guys also on set had like discussions about how we nowadays are treating AIDS and trying to prevent it? Like,
I wish I could be as intelligent as my character, but I'm not. So I don't want to say nonsense. I can tell what I heard and what I just feel is that we are in a very good moment in certain countries in which we have access to all those prevention tools. But at the same time, it's quite sad that I don't really see public campaigns to encourage that.
no.
Like people that are under treatment, they don't transmit the virus anymore.
No.
And people that are on PrEP, they can get infected. It's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Sounds like a dream. But at the same time, the rate is going, I think, higher and higher, or like young people are not really protecting themselves. So there's like a...
Or they're
like
not
this,
aware.
or they're not aware, but there's like this contradiction between the tools that we have in certain countries, of course. Then we can talk about other countries in the world that don't really have access to medication, or it's very expensive.
Yeah.
But like in France, we have access to all those things for
But we
free,
don't have public campaigns. We don't have information.
but there's no... They're not raising awareness.
and addressing to the young people.
Yeah, in the Netherlands it also seems to fly a little under the radar while
Yeah.
it's here, and actually it's now more insured, so it's very cheap now to gain access to these medicines, but it's not very well known amongst people.
So it's great that we're...
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Oh, really?
Oh, so
Well, it's great that we're here, right?
That's great
In
that
this
we're
frame.
Thank you.
We could call the European Parliament to try and just like pass some like European laws or something that could help on that. We've got the tools, we just need to apply them to make things change.
I think maybe it's actually time to open questions from the audience, if that is possible, because I think now there is some participation as well.
Sure.
Are there people here that have a question for our actors? There are a number of directors listed in the film, is that true?
No.
No, I don't.
No, maybe it's the
No.
assistants.
Or editing. The editing was shared among 3, Robin and 2 other...
But I am wondering about working with Robin Campillo, because he wrote the film, edited the film, and directed the film. Like, how much on hands is he with his material, or is there very much room for you to fill it in your own manner?
He was very precise, and at the same time, he let us
Very open to...
open and even lost at some
Yeah.
points. At some points, I
Searching
remember that
with
we
us.
were a little lost, even I would say. But because, of course, he was dealing like with whatever 100 people on set, like in the amphitheater scenes. So at certain points, I felt that we were kind of like lost, you know, just trying to find ourselves. But I think that he really used that also to create that kind of electricity and that kind of excitement that existed in those meetings. And he was very generous, and he would just like talk for hours about those times in a very funny way. He would transmit like all the humor and the little things that they would do. It was like a very immediate way of working. He was never like glorifying those times, you know. He was just like talking as if he was right there in a meeting, and that was very like reassuring for us. And he would rely a lot on us.
Yeah, but everything is written. It's all scripts. There is no improvisation. It's quite important for him to not stick to the words, but stick to the situations, to the energies.
That's interesting. And Arno, you were saying that it might be your last film. Can you say why? Are you really done with acting, or was this just an exception?
No, I was just doing a joke now.
So after this must have been a pretty intense shoot, and now this film is going all over the place, and you're now here in the Netherlands.
Which is strange that we shoot the movie for 9 weeks, and it's been like 5 months and a half we're doing the promotion, so more promotion than shooting. And we're not paid when we're doing the promotion.
Little message for the production.
You just get to see the world and meet different audiences.
Of course. It was
but it's
the
true,
world.
that's very strange, because when you play in a film, I think that we were almost like victims. You know, we were just like in this big voyage, just like shooting every day. Nights were like little naps, and you just don't, you think, but at the same time, you don't think a lot. You're just like surviving. You're shooting a film. And then when you're doing promotion, you have a lot of time to think about what you did, put words in every single thing. And sometimes you're just like, I don't know why we did that. You know? But that's what's great about making films, is that when the atmosphere is the right one, you stop thinking because you belong to something bigger than you, and you're just like reacting, and you're just living in that parallel world that you created. It's very strange doing promotion.
No reason to worry about it if you don't get paid now, because you will be superstars from now on.
Yeah, you guys, you will be superstars. So are you working on new films, or are you now like only promotion of 120 beats per minute?
Reading scripts.
Reading scripts. You can do that in the airplane.
Yeah, exactly. Watching films, reading scripts.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, that we are reaching to the conclusion of this Q&A. So I think we should finish off with a big thank you to our main actors here, Arno and Noël. Give them a very big applause. Thank you to all the other audiences as well that tweeted live, and thank you all for coming as well. This has been 120 beats per minute, presented by the LuxPrize here in I. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful evening. Thank you, guys.